This whole chapter is about collars, and we're going to start right off the bat with Judy's favorite collar. And it is, and you see it on lots of my garments. And I think I love this collar so much because the back of this collar is very short and the front of this collar is very long. So it gives you a lot of fashion, a lot of sophistication without a lot of work. Now, those of you that have very short necks, you're going to love this collar as well. So the very first thing that you're going to do, follow the directions that are in the book. They got some great directions in the book, but I want to point out some pointers. The first thing that you're going to do is make you a whole new front pattern. If you're going to use a piece of fabric that does not have stretch to it, you need to add to the side seams and the underarm seams, and those directions are on your master pattern as well. If you're going to make a jacket out of a knit, that's really kind of totally up to you. A lot of people, when they wear knit jackets, they wear them over a lightweight something underneath. You see me in camisoles all the time, so I wear the knit jackets over that. You know, I had some lady tell me one time, not too long ago, you love to make jackets. I do love to make jackets because I can wear a black tank and a black pair of pants and change the jacket, and I totally change the look. I can go from very casual to very dressy all in one day just by changing my jacket. So I do love jackets. So when you make your new pattern, the couple things that you're going to do, you're going to mark the center front. That would be the center front right here. And then you're going to add to it. Totally up to you as to what you want to add. If you look on here, let me pull this up just a bit. If you look on here, I've just done two different lines, so it makes it kind of easy. So when I want to put a zipper into my jacket, all I have to do is to fold that line back, and that's where my zipper would go. That's all I need to put that zipper in. If I'm going to put buttons and buttonholes in, I need to add more to that front of that jacket. And again, keep in mind that if you're making it out of woven, you must add to it. Now let me give you a suggestion. Some people are really in a quandary as how much should I add? Don't stress it. Add an inch. You can always take it out. That's not a big deal. But if you don't have enough and you're not happy with what you have as far as the jacket, you're going to wish you had added the inch. So that's a really simple thing to do. And as I said, take the seam allowance in. That's easy. So let me start with my very favorite collar. This is even called Judy's favorite collar. You have the pattern in the book to make this collar, and this is what this collar looks like. Now, believe it or not, this angled line is the neck edge. And I think if you look at this very carefully, when a collar goes onto a garment, most of you think about it being a neckline just like this and then cut down the center. Look at this collar. This collar has a V to it. So we're actually going to cut a V into the shirts. And again, those directions are in the book step by step. So when you cut the V into the shirt, can you see that it's going to force this down this way and look a lot different? If you put it in like this up into the neck edge, you're going to not figure out why that collar looks so funny. So it's made to go into a V. When you zip it up, you can zip it all the way up like this if you want to, and it just gives it a little bit more detail. So let me show you what we're going to do. But before I get started on the collar, I want to give you a little hint. I love yokes. I put yokes in a lot of my garments, and I don't have a yoke in this one, but I put a lot of yokes in my garments, and I do it because I have sloping shoulders. So let me show you what I'm doing with this yoke. I made the yoke. Now, this is an ugly green color, but you can see it very easily. I made a yoke, and I made it according to the directions that for this pattern itself. So I made a yoke to go into this. And then what I did was I put French fuse on it, and I put 2 layers of French fuse on this yoke. I folded the edges and pressed them in place, because what I'm going to do is to put this yoke on, like I would put this yoke on like this. I'm going to put it on as an applique, and that's exactly what I've done with this jacket. So when I turn this inside out, can you see that I actually had the shoulder seam? This is the shoulder seam. This is the princess seam, but this is the shoulder seam. So I made a whole front and a whole back, all right? And then I just laid the yoke right over the top of it and stitched it in place. What did that do? Well, if you notice when I turned that over, I had French fuse on the jacket itself because the jacket is knit and I wanted it to have a little bit more body to it. But then when I put the yoke on, the yoke has 2 layers of French fuse. So what do I have here? I have one layer of fabric with the yoke. I have one layer of jacket, front and back, and then I also have 2 layers of French views on the yoke and 1 layer of French views on the jacket. So this jacket's going to give me a really nice look to the shoulder itself, and it's going to have a really professional look without ever having a shoulder pad. So that's just one of my tricks that I like to do when I'm putting in a collar. So now this collar, as I told you, is in a V shape. So you must measure, after you sew the shoulder seams and put the yoke on, you must measure what that neck edge is. And the reason you want to do that is because you're going to make the collar according to what this measures. So, you know, a lot of times when you bought other patterns, manufactured patterns, it has a front, back, a sleeve, and a collar. You cut them all out at the same time, and then you prayed that collar would go into that neck edge. I don't do it that way. I sew my shoulder seams together, and then I cut out my collar, and my collar matches whatever I just sewed. So you're going to stand the tape measure up, and you're going to measure the neck edge and cut the collar pieces accordingly. I cut 2 of them, and I interface them both. And let me show you that's exactly what is on this jacket. Can you see? This is the black collar and this is the gray collar, and I've stitched those 2 together. Now the collar, the black on the inside, that is actually stitched to the facing. Can you see? This is the facing and this is the jacket. So when I put my zipper in, I'm simply going to put it into that hole just like we did in the last chapter, and when I put that zipper in, that's going to finish off the edge. Now I do a little trick with collars in the back side of it, and I want to show you this little trick because it really works well. I don't use a facing. I don't use a facing on the back neck edge. If you want to use a facing, you're welcome to go make yourself one, but I don't even do that. So I just take the collar edge, and let me turn this over like this. This is the edge of that facing. That's the front neck facing. And I turn that black edge over, and just all you have to do is enclose that seam like that, the seam where you sewed the collar to the jacket, and you have a beautiful finish to the inside of your garment, but you have no back neck facing. So once you top stitch that down, it's a completely finished jacket. So really, really simple and easy to do. Now the other garment that I want to show you, now let me take this jacket off, and I want to show you this one because a lot of people love this garment. And this is the collar into the neck edge, and it's a fancy collar, but zipper, but you wouldn't even have to do that if you didn't want to. Guess what? It's the same collar. So this time that collar is into the raglan sleeve part, which makes it over here on the side as opposed to right down the center. You actually could put this onto a t-shirt if you wanted to and have this collar in the front. So the collar you're going to love. It's called Judy's Favorite Collar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now it's time to check out the website. Everything is on there. You can purchase the pattern, the book, all the notions I talked about. You can join the Fit Club and check out the classes where I'm teaching. And be sure to follow me on Facebook.